Sometimes you just need to go back and revisit your photography and video footage. Now, in my opinion, going back and revisiting old work is somewhat therapeutic in a sense, but there's another factor to take in consideration that I'll get to here in a moment. Now, this black belly whistling duck I photographed over roughly 2 years ago on the Fujifilm X-H2S. It was perched on this rotted palm tree that was by this old abandoned hotel. And I took advantage of that moment to capture these photos to be able to really just see how the behavior is with this particular wildlife duck. I think scrolling through, old photography of wildlife that I was able to capture in a moment had me to truly just appreciate what I was able to create with what was presented to me at that time frame. Like I had to be there at the right place at the right time to be able to capture that moment. Now, this was a more recent situation with this house Finch that I just couldn't take my eyes off the footage, essentially, and the photographs too, because the fact is that there's just something about this particular shot that I took that I just was, I don't know, I am obsessed with, essentially. I'm always going back and looking at it at least, once or twice before I go to bed or do another video or something like that, because it's always something about a shot that it just draws you back to it. Don't know what it is a lot of times, but sometimes what I can pinpoint is that maybe it's the composition of it, to where the subject, in a sense, this bird was perfectly placed within a particular frame in itself, to where you're able to really dive into the composition, because you already know that birds or animals, wildlife, or anything like that is going to be unpredictable, and that you have to take what you can get. A lot of times you can try to move around side to side, get a little closer, move further back in the situation. However, though, during that time of movement, they could easily move on to something else. Like, I ain't got time for you, I'm going to do my own thing, and just dip out on you, and you're stuck there with probably like maybe a couple of photos in hand or some footage in hand, and you're just like, man, I wish I would have just been patient and just, took my time in this situation. But I digress. I think I have some type of insight in regards to what it is that is truly drawing me back to this situation, and other situations as well. And what I can take from it is the factor that I mentioned before, which is growth, like growth within this space. No matter if it's, years, months, days, you're constantly trying to learn and get better at a craft, and truly appreciating the different types of methods that kind of go into it, as far as like building up really your skill set within this area. So I would say for me, that's kind of like one of the main reasons why I like to go back and look at my footage and photography, is really to see the growth as far as where I'm at, now versus where I was then. Now, obviously, I'm still a work in progress, just like a lot of other people out there. But I think the one thing that I can take from this situation, on top of the growth aspect of it, is that I'm willing to embrace the challenge. As far as like challenging myself to be able to anticipate, what a bird movement is going to do within, you probably be in the proximity of it, and really trying to understand that. And once you begin to try to understand those movements, or when it's like crouched down, is it about to take off, or is it about to like just psych you out and go back to the food that it was eating and stuff. So those are the types of things that I think is a challenge that like I said before, I truly embrace, and it's what makes it fun about it and exciting about it, especially when you're doing it handheld. Like, I noticed a lot of my footage, I try to, hold it as steady as possible, but sometimes you're standing there for like 1 or 2 minutes, and something happens as soon as you put the camera down, or something happens as far as like whenever you stop recording and stuff. So yeah, it's all the same difference, but yeah, it's one of those things to where I'm trying to get better at, and hopefully I can make those strides throughout the year this year. think the photos of the house Finch on the bird feeder, just seeing the different types of positions it takes throughout the whole process was definitely memorable. And being able to just capitalize on that and see their behaviors. I think it's always unique to kind of see birds' behaviors or just wildlife in general behaviors whenever they're interacting with food or interacting with each other and stuff. So yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. And to kind of like try to utilize the bird feeder as a way to help with my composition. I think that was another thing that I will take from it, is that utilizing the subjects, whatever it is drawing their attention at that time frame, trying to maximize the best you can. I know that that's easier said than done, and you just take what you can get a lot of times whenever you're trying to, photograph these beautiful creatures that are out there. Well, I don't have anything else. I'm done with my tangent. As always, continually appreciate the process. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Deuces. We out, son. Yes, sir. Like, by the time I release this video, the Canon C50 is already going to be released and be discussed upon with tons of information and content that's going to be out there, being able to dissect it and really just kind of go through it and see how this camera compares to its competitors, essentially. Seeing the content that's going to be created around this camera, it's definitely going to be great as far as like getting information out there. As much as I would love to romanticize about this camera and its potential use, there's still a side of me that is appreciative of what I've created with the current gear that I currently have. And this is not to say that if the Canon C50 were to be offered to me to use, that I would, respectfully decline. I would definitely say, come off that, like, bring it over here, because definitely I want to make sure that I'm able to utilize it and really test it out to see, take it through its paces as far as like my use case for it, essentially.